My name is Rene Garcia, and I started my public career at Hialeah High School when I ran for student government president. And during my time there at Hialeah High, actually the first time I ran for office, I was running for junior class president. And I ran for office as junior class president, and I unfortunately lost that year. And then I thought, listen, I'm never going to do this again. Why run for office? Why do any of these stakes at Hialeah High? And then I did it. I ran for Hialeah for student government president, and I got elected. And that started my process of running for office after that. Then in 1995, I ran for city council of Hialeah and knocked on a whole bunch of these doors, campaigned really hard, got a loan from my parents. It was all over the place. Got my father to come back from work and we'll put up the signs, and we campaigned extremely hard. And that year, after everyone told me that, Rene, you're too young to run for office, guess what happened? They were right. I lost. I lost really big. I came in 12th place out of 14 people, I think it was. I don't know. I lost really big, but then 2 years later, I decided to, I really want to I'm determined, I really want to do this. I want to make sure that I get out there and serve my community, because I really do have a servant's heart. I really do believe in helping our community, and this is why I ran for office. So even though the people were telling me, Rene, you're not going to get elected, my mother didn't want me to get into office. She hates politics. She's very apolitical. My family's very apolitical. And she told me, if you run for office again, I'm going to go to your brother's house in Washington, D.C. And I go, my father was like, don't do that. This is your son. This is your other son. This is supposedly your favorite son. And, but anyway, long story short, she became one of my favorite, my best supporters, and she was out there campaigning with me. And that following year, we got elected and got to the city council of Hialeah. But one of the biggest elections that I ever had was this one, when I ran for the state house. When I ran for the state house was in 2000. A lot of people were telling me again, Rene, you were just reelected to the city council in 1999. Why would you run for the state house? But it was a great opportunity. Politics is all about timing. This was a time to do it. It was an opening. It was right after term limits, and I decided to run for office. But that year, the most interesting thing about that year was that everyone was telling me that there was a deal that was made between three different candidates. I was running for the state house, there was one running for the state senate, and there was someone else running for the county commissioner. We're supposed to campaign together. But in that campaigning together, the deal fell apart somewhere along the lines. Everyone started helping, just doing their own campaigns. All my friends were really upset with me. Rene, we should do our own campaigns. Don't stick together. And this, by the way, this is the first time I said this story publicly. And that year, I told them, no, we're going to keep our word. We're going to campaign for all three of us. And guess what happened in that election cycle? They both lost, and we won. And that was a lesson that I learned as a young man, that you keep your word. And I've carried that through my whole political career. And this perfect slide back here, this is one that's amazing to me, because that was a slide, that was the debate that I had on the pari-mutuels. I'm not going to get into a debate of pari-mutuels, but those are the gaming issues, because I had Hialeah racetrack in my backyard. And I was a freshman legislator, and I took on the whole industry. And I fought with everyone. Everyone thought that there was no way that Rene could win this battle. Took on the horsemen, I took on everyone, and we had one amendment after another amendment after another amendment. We got closer every single time. But on the last vote, it was a 58-58 vote. It was a tied vote. And I lost. But because we lost that vote, that showed people, people saw, who is this guy? This guy took on the whole industry. This young kid took on the industry, and that propelled me to get a little bit of respect in the legislature and move my way up through the process, and was able to sit down with back then it was Governor Bush, get together all the agencies, and it led me to a place where I believed in myself. I started finally believing myself and having the confidence to, no matter what people tell you, as long as you persevere and you believe in yourself, you can get anything done, even if you lose. Sometimes when you lose, you win. And that's what happened to me. And when I got to the Senate, I was a totally different legislator. In the Senate, I also ran for the Senate. It wasn't that bad of an election. But when I was in the Senate, that same young man that started as a council member in Hialeah High, the city council of Hialeah, then the House, became the chairman of the Health Appropriations Committee in the state Senate, running a $38 billion budget. And during that time, as a Republican, I was able to help a lot in the healthcare arena, making sure that we fought for Medicaid expansion, make sure that we try to reform the HIV laws, make sure that children didn't have a wait time, immigrant children didn't have the 5-year wait time to apply for Medicaid services. Those are the things that we did, and we fought to make sure that people were put first. And that's one of the things that I felt most proud about in my career as a legislator. is that I really do believe that you need to lead and represent the people that elected you, and a lot of times we forget that. And I've learned that through my whole years of falling down on the ground and picking myself up. But I've always been able to have people around me who have always helped me out. And now at the county commission, now that young kid is not that young anymore. Now I'm the older statesman of the county commission, and it's pretty odd for me. It's pretty weird for me when people come to me to ask me for advice and tell me, Rene, how do we do this? It's like, wait a minute, I'm still trying to figure this out myself. 20-something years later, 27 years later, now I was trying to figure things out, but one of the greatest things that I've been able to accomplish now at the Miami-Dade County Commission is that I'm focusing on the things that I find really important, because you don't have time to focus on everything. And one of the things that we're working extremely hard on is our mental health and making sure that we provide the services for mental health in our community, because unfortunately right now we have an area where there's a lot of services that are being provided, but there's not necessarily the right services. And for me, it's important to ensure that those are available. And those are the things that we're fighting for. And these are the pictures that I've been able to work together with all the people through our community. I don't know when my father here and I are drinking wine, but I'm sure that was on his birthday. But this is the things that I enjoy, bringing people together. And for me, I've always put family first. And I'll tell you this, I tell every single one of you, if I was able to accomplish this, if I was able to get through every step of my life when people were telling me no, if I can do it, every single one of you can. So thank you very much, and God bless.